lot of opportunities nowadays. Social media booming, and you can be a creator making millions of dollars. We had 55 different artists from around the world and iconic curator, Kasper Koenig. But we also had a lot of art professionals from around the world. I think it's kind of a small circle. Everyone know each other. Everyone understand that we are in the same boat. No one gonna say, oh, I'm going home at 6 p.m. We was just working like 24 hours getting ready for the event. And in Tatarstan, it's Republic, which is like New York City and New York State. So we were responsible for public spaces in the whole state. It's called Participatory design. There's a Agahan Architectural Award. It was the first project in the history of this award, project from Russia that won. Good photographers, videographers, copywriters, you know, all that people who's actually building this. Like, we wanted to make our Instagram page look like art. So that time we decided that we want to make a movie about it. Did we know about that it's going to be biggest extreme park in Europe? I would say just be open and open-minded and outgoing, ready to talk to strangers if it's necessary, make your research. Yeah, and just don't be afraid and, you know,
do your research.
Do your research.
Go out and do your job, yeah.
And do your business after, yeah.
This is She Did It Show, and I'm your host, Daria Mutrova. Today, I'm super excited to present you our guest, Karina Kalimullina. Karina is PR manager and communication expert with more than 10 years of experience working in media relations and strategy for architecture, film, design, and art. Karina led PR and communications for the urban department of the Russian Republic of Tatarstan, and she led PR communications for the biggest extreme park in the Europe and in Russia, as well as more than 400 public spaces, squares, parks in the Republic of Tatarstan. Karina was working on many amazing projects, and one of them was the Manifesta European Biennale of Contemporary Art, and her clients have been featured in worldwide media outlets such as Guardian, Forbes, Bloomberg, Arch Daily, and many other outlets. And today she helps to creatives to find their visual identity and to develop brand strategy in PR and communications. Yes, and I'm so excited today to see you in our studio, Karina.
Hello, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. And yeah, you have an amazing experience working on such global projects as European Biennale, or working in the urban department of Tatarstan, and leading the project, the biggest extreme park in the Europe and Russia. I'm excited, and I would love to talk with you today about PR communications and on the example of those projects to dig in. How did you work on that? How did you develop audience for those projects and production and creating?
Of course. I mean, let's do that. And that's why I'm here, right?
Yeah, so I mean, we'll have amazing conversations. Sure.
Yeah, I'm sure.
All right, so, but before all of that, let's start. Why PR?
Well, should I make it short? Or, I mean, yeah, of course, we don't have that much time. I could talk about it for ages, you know, but I was always very outgoing, and it felt natural for me, you know, communicate with people and, you know, connect them. But when I was a kid, about like 12, 13 years old, I started watching can lines, and I know that you did that too,
I love
right?
that. Yeah, I did it too.
Yeah, and well, it's funny that, when you're a kid, you're interested in advertising. So, well, there's a Cannes festival, right, for movies, but Cannes Lions is a thing for people who are making advertising. So I got interested in advertising, and I was like, wow, that's so cool, that's something very creative. And of course it sells, right? Because the main thing that you want to do, making advertising to sell your product, or, it depends. But in general, you can think about that in creative way and make a masterpiece. So that was the first step, I think. And then when I was 14, the most ridiculous thing, I was watching Sex and the City.
Oh my gosh.
And I mean, back in Russia, and Sex and the City started in 1999 in New York. And I think that time it was 2004 when I was 14. So yeah, I got inspired by this woman, all of them actually.
Who, Samantha?
Well, she was doing PR, right?
She was doing PR.
But not all her characters.
Part of the business side?
Part of the business side. And yeah, how she was like acting bossy and like putting people in the list, that kind of thing. But also Carrie's addiction for fashion and writing.
And writing, right?
Because I'm writing a lot. And and Charlotte too, because she was into art. So all these characters kind of like, came together.
Miranda? What's about Miranda?
Well, the funny thing is that my dad wanted me to be a lawyer. So when I was graduating from school, he was like, you should study law. I'm like, well, actually, I think I know what I want to study. And I decided to study public relations and social media, So that's how it happened, how it started.
Like, right from the beginning, so you didn't have this
I think
struggles,
I'm lucky.
What I want to do, like, and just maybe...
Yeah, I think I'm lucky, you know, because so many people just like don't know what they want to do, especially nowadays, I think kids just, exploring. But there's also a lot of opportunities nowadays, social media booming, and you can be a creator, making millions of dollars, and, that's fun.
Yeah, it's amazing. That really, like, the industry is huge, and public relations is a big part of any business. Yeah, actually, for sure. If you're a small entrepreneur, if you're a content creator, or if you're a big business, so
like, have to think about that. Yeah.
Yeah, like, and you started to work on such an amazing project, like right away, in Manifesta European Biennale of Art. Yeah. How that happened? So share something.
Yeah. Well, before that, I was working in Ogilvy agency in Moscow, but it was like first step after university. And
I love this agency. what
I mean, that was a dream, when you're a kid, you're like, where I want to work in the best agency, right? So afterwards, I went to, that year, 2014, European Biennial of Contemporary Art, Manifesta 10, was hosted by Hermitage Museum in St. Petersburg. And I went there for a Depeche Mode concert. And of course, I wanted to visit Hermitage. So I went there, I bought a ticket, and then I saw a poster about European Biennial of Contemporary Art Manifest, and I was like, oh, I should, check any vacancies. Do they have anything? And they didn't. In 3 days, they launched a new vacancy, and I'm like, well, I should try. And then they hired me, and that was the most, fun part of my experience, I think, because you're young, you're in the new city. Like, I moved there, and we had 55 different artists from around the world, and iconic curator, Kasper Koenig. He organized a first Andy Warhol's exhibition in Europe. I mean, he was in the beginning of curating in general. So.
And it was the 10th. You mentioned it was the 10th.
Yeah, and then because Biennale happening every 2 years, and then next year, I think it was in Zurich, and then after 2 more years, it was in Cannes, or no, it was somewhere in Italy. But anyway, that time it was in St. Petersburg, and it was the first time when they crossed the borders of Europe, and organize it in Russia.
Wow, 2014 was huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, for Russia. So, and it's amazing that they actually they made it happen this year. And
I know, because we had Ukrainian artists as well. It was a
wow.
lot of
Controversial.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, and how did you lead PR communication for this huge global project as Art Biennale? How did you do that?
I was responsible for audience development, and technically I was working in educational department, and my goal was to invite as much people as possible using different communication tools, and yeah, it was pretty fun as well, because it was summertime. We organized different collaborations with, let's say, music festivals, like city events, and we had like this rolling funny car where we organized workshops for kids. And other thing is that I was responsible for group bookings, and I was keeping track of how much people are coming. So that was also my responsibility, to provide numbers and, make it happen as well, because
yeah, it's a huge thing.
Yeah.
I mean, which kind of activities did you do to attract more audience for this exhibition?
Well, of course, PR, because we had a communication department, very strong team, and they cover a lot of press, international, of course, because you don't have to focus only on Russian audience, right? Because it's international biennale. So, and also you have 55 different artists, and you can connect with local media of their countries. They will be happy to write about it, But what about audience development? Our goal was not only provide information about this exhibition to art professionals, because for sure, they will come, and but also for students and kids. So that was another thing, when you actually have to reach all schools and universities. But I found a way, how you can make it not super details and making a lot of calls, but finding right people to call them, and then organize something, okay, let's call this woman, she's a teacher there, she's a director of that school, that kind of stuff.
So actually you've been attracting students, and the schools are around this
around the city, around the St. Petersburg, basically. Yeah. But we also had a lot of art professionals from around the world, so I was also in touch with them, when we knew when they are planning to come, because not everyone could come for art opening, professional opening, because first you have press opening, so they write about opening in advance before it's open for audience, and then professional opening, where all art professionals are coming from around the world. Also, you have to make sure that they have visas, and they know where they are staying, and be in touch with them, and organize everything at the exhibition for them, welcoming them, all that stuff. That was fun.
Wow, yeah, I'm sure there've been lots of art leaders in the art industry who came from around the world to visit.
Yeah, from MoMA, from Tate, of course. I mean, the art world is very interesting, and
it's not so big as you think. It's actually small.
I think it's kind of small circle. Yeah, everyone know each other. If you're following, who's a new director of that museum, who changed, who quit. Yeah.
Yeah, which challenges did you experience doing that? As I understand, you've been working in a gallery before, and it was corporate experience.
Corporate world, yeah.
Yeah, and here's independent project, which is international project, and you've been focused in-house, actually working to attract audience for specific one project.
Yeah.
How that transition been for you, and which challenges did you experience doing
well,
that?
Ogilvy was kind of like battlefield, because you're young and you want to prove that you're the best, and trying hard. But this one was even trying harder, I guess. First, White Nights,
Right.
like opening was on 28th of June, and
It's like economic forum day, like at White Nights, like in so many events they put at the same time in St. Petersburg.
kind of
That's true.
busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I still, when I'm thinking about this particular project, I don't remember anything like challenging and bad, It's just like good memories. But of course, everyone understands that we are in the same boat, and, no one gonna say, oh, I'm going home, at 6 p.m. We was just working like 24 hours, getting ready for the event. And that was great, because team members have to be, the team members and support each other. And I think that was a good combination of people who came together to work on that project, and we supported each other. So
Yeah, but what happened next? I know like you started to work in external communications and PR for the urban department of the Republic of Tatarstan.
yeah,
So on developing public spaces, and actually as I understood, translating to New York City terms and language, it's like New York City parks, it's like government organization, and you did gentrification and beautification of the space.
yes,
Could you tell what did you do, and just
yeah,
we'll jump a little bit more deep to this urban
With
development?
pleasure.
Yeah, because it's huge part of what did you do.
Yeah. Well, actually, after Manifesta finished, I moved to Bali.
All right.
Yeah, but let's move on. And so after Bali, I come back to Kazan. This is my hometown where I was born, and I really love the city and Republic, and I was thinking, what is my new project, like what I want to do, and as you mentioned, is like NYC parks, but for the whole state. I mean, saying state, I mean Tatarstan. It's Republic, but in terms of American language, it's like New York City and New York State. So we were responsible for whole like public spaces in the whole state.
Right. So actually, to be more close to the New York City where like I'm living, I just want to understand the process of gentrifying the space. For example, if I have some issue in my neighborhood and if I want to improve something, I actually come to the government department, I write the request, and how the process starts from the zero to of gentrification. How, in your example, working on your project, maybe you could describe that.
Okay.
So what happened next?
Are we talking about New York now, or?
Yeah, we actually talk about your experience,
Okay.
but I just wanted to make it.
Yeah, actually, I started thinking maybe I should, learn about more about New York public spaces and how they operating.
Oh my gosh, it's my another question. What you will improve, like in New York City? I have
you probably
something
have your own things, right?
Yeah, actually, I just recently we had like the case right in front of our window. They put the recycling of things, and lots of people now recycling, like
Making some noise.
And actually, like after interview, I will have a board meeting with the building to discuss that, how we could improve this little thing.
A little noise.
A little like
at 3 a.m.
Yes, like in the Sunday morning, like
Oh my
of
God.
the bottles,
Sounds terrible, to be honest.
Yeah, it's just like my personal pain right now, but we'll.
But you see, at least this thing makes some people happy, they're making money on it,
Yeah,
right?
they do, but neighborhood is like it's
Struggling.
transforming the neighborhood and bringing some specific type of people to the neighborhood, and it's we
right.
just actually will talk about that.
Well,
After that.
usually they put it in shopping malls and
It's
or
a store
CVS.
there,
yeah.
and that's why. But yeah, whatever. So
Okay, stop complaining about New York City.
I
I'm
think
joking.
it's a thing to complain. Yes.
Well, I mean, we probably have our own plans for that, right? Anyway, so about process of developing public spaces, it's actually very interesting question because in 2016 when we started, it's called participatory design. It's the a series of events that you organize to meet with people, to your future audience, let's say, to people who will use the space, and you go there without project and ask people what they want, and they answer. And usually it's like game-based thing. So they see the map of the future place where we're planning to develop the public space. It's either like waterfront or park or square or street, depends on the place. Yeah. And it's always very interesting because you never know what people need, what they actually need, because before that most of the project was just okay, we will put the playground here, or some little sport activities here, and it doesn't matter for people how it's going to work out. But when you ask, you actually got the answer and people get involved. So you're building and creating a community as well. And people feel more responsible for the public space. And they, like afterwards, when the space is developed, they feel like it's their home kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's always good to involve people because then they care more about.
Yeah, they can organize events after that. But yeah, after that kind of meetings, architects start making a project, and then we present the project to them again, and they either improve it or approve it, and then you start building it, and then you start making events there, and then space leave itself, and that's the process. If I can make it shorter, yeah.
Yeah. So actually, you've been responsible for PR and communication, like in external way.
Yeah.
So to communicate with people who live in this neighborhood and to make the
even
place.
small villages. So it depends like who is your audience, and it depends like what kind of communication tools you want to use, right? Because in some villages, well, of course they do have a TV, but they don't show news of the village. They only have let's say a newspaper. And some old people, can I say old people?
Yeah, older is.
Shit.
Older people, yeah. Seniors. Well, yeah.
For example, if we're talking about a little village where like 2,000 people live, they don't have access to, they do have access for TVs, but the source where they get information is a local newspaper. So you make sure that you make an announcement in the newspaper 2 weeks before or a week before the actual meeting with the people, so they know about that. Oh, of course, social media for younger generation, because some people are still living in the villages. But the best thing is that we're making exact the same quality public spaces for people who live in the village and in the capital.
Wow,
which
is
awesome. Don't make them feel bad, like that I want to leave, or like I don't want to leave here. We had an example where actually people who live in that village, they were walking their cows next to the river, and then we built a big beautiful waterfront, with the swings and with the little beach, and with all that interesting cool activities. And now they walking as a promenade in the evening, wearing nice shoes.
Wow.
Not walking their cows,
Not with cows, yeah.
which is big switch, and it's actually changing people's lives.
Yeah, exactly. Like little things which they do every day matters
exactly.
much more than like some big.
And it makes me feel good.
Yeah, wow. Talking about like PR and communications as well, which type of activities did you organize to make people aware of the place, to build this awareness of this place? It's like communicating for newspapers. It's one of the things. Social media.
Yeah.
Did you organize any like
Well,
events there?
It depends, yeah, because we also our big team, you know, we decide, like, we realized that at some point when you build all these public spaces, somehow, you know, someone have to run them, someone have to be responsible for, you know, making sure that it's clean, and, you know, you organize a lot of activities, as you mentioned, you know, some concerts, either local musicians or, you know, inviting big stars to make people happy. And, you know, how you invite them, how people would know about it. You should use, you know, any possibilities of communication to actually make people know about things. So, yeah.
It's actually mentioned like it's non-profit, so, and actually the thing is so many working places you give to people to run that later.
That's true. That's
true.
That's true as well.
Changes like
Also, it was open competition to become a park manager, and it was the first thing in Russia like that. Also,
wow.
I don't know if we should mention about that, but in 2016, this particular program that we were making in Tatarstan became like a necessary thing for all other regions in Russia.
Big win.
Yeah.
It's amazing, yeah.
Well, I can be sure about the quality
how it works
in other regions, but I know for sure that Tatarstan
it's the top of standard.
did a great job. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, actually, and I know that some of your projects they've been awarded, and
yeah, many of them actually. There's a, thank you for asking. Yeah, there is a Agahan Award, architectural award, and actually it was the first project in the history of this award, that project from Russia that won this award. Yeah, and it was our program. So
actually you've been in charge of
applying for that kind of awards. Yeah, for sure, because you want to, like, if you making international competitions involve a lot of architects, you know, to work on that public spaces, because that's what we did. Of course, you want all world to know about it, right? And how you do it, it's either international media or and awards as well, because you want to compete with all other people, you know, like who is doing kind of the same thing, but, you know, the quality of, let's say, embankment of Kaban lakes in the city center of Kazan, it could compete with Highline, you know.
Yeah, actually, speaking about, like, it's a great PR tool to find the awards. Is there like any sources of information about these awards if someone wants to research for their project? Like,
well, actually, you know, they're pretty well known, I would say, and should I name them? Or
yeah, you could if you want.
Okay.
If you have something, I
well,
think
Art Daily, it's the biggest architect media in the world, like #1. Well, they organize that kind of competition every year, and Dzine, for example. It's not much of them, you know. Like if you want to get the best, of course, you just search for the best, you know, Google it, and it's pretty easy. If you're not sure that your project is like that cool, maybe you can start with something
smaller,
like not spontaneous, less spectacular. Sorry.
Spectacular, yeah. They're like I'm amazing that it's like worldwide recognition. It gives you more opportunities to be published, to have more press, people talking about you.
Yeah, for sure, and for more, like, there's opportunity for more collaboration, I think, because you know, you never know who's gonna see it and how it's gonna end up. You know, someone can give you a call. Let's make something together, and you know.
You can do the sponsorship. Actually, it was like. Your project have been sponsored by the government or by the private organizations, and it's also like probably the big party could bring some sponsors to the projects.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, also there is a like small businesses support. You know, if we talk about particular public spaces, because there is a competition between small businesses who gonna sell ice cream, you know, in this public space, and they actually, you know, competing between each other,
Wow,
and then someone win and you make money, you know.
So they can
That's
rent
good.
the space.
You little business, you know, who want to
Mhm.
sell ice cream. You have like a fridge, you know, and you're like, okay, I want to be in this park. And also we did designs for that kind of little stores. So it's like, because design code is very important, and we did that as well, because, you know, without that, public space don't work as a whole. So
It's also part of PR. It seems like
Exactly.
like PR is part of the big thing. You actually did the brand identity, like the brand design book, right?
Yeah.
And probably been running social media as well. So it's like it's not only like external PR communication. It's like
a lot of
brands.
Yeah, a lot of many things for sure.
A lot of like.
Well, about social media, yeah, of course. I mean, you have to have a great team. You know, you have to find the right people. You have to, you know, work with someone who you trust. Good photographers, videographers, copywriters. You know, all that people who's actually building this. Like, we build it together. It's not like, you know, something that I created myself. Of course, there's a lot of people who was in my team, and, you know, we did it together.
So actually being PR manager is also to be a good manager and to be a creative director of this.
Yeah.
Like to give the direction to the
please
team.
everyone, and maybe not please. It depends on the situation.
Yeah. That's a good balance, to keep this balance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, we're speaking about New York City. If you would work in one of those like New York City parks, government apartments, or somewhere, what you would improve, or everything is amazing. What do you like about New York City?
Well,
and public
I like.
space?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Go.
I was like too excited to talk about it. Well, to be honest, I love public spaces of New York. You know, they're super different. I think everyone can find anything they want. And I mean, it's hard to compare like Central Park to Highline to Washington Square. Of course, for Tompkins Square Park, you know, because it's kind of junky, dark place, I would say sometimes. So that's the thing that I think city could improve, like safety.
Safety, yeah.
You know, so people can feel safe to walk there with a kid, with a family, because, you know, some places, like, let's say Tompkins Square Park, it's not like super safe, I would say.
Yeah.
And we're talking only about Manhattan, because, like, you know, we don't go to Bronx or.
Oh yeah.
So, well, I love that, you know, public spaces are all about democracy, I would say, because it's for everyone, right? It's open, it's free for public, and you can meet anyone, rich people, not very rich people, families with kids, dogs. Also, I love that New York City parks, they very dog friendly, you know, because there's such a big culture, like doggy culture in New York. Everyone, you know, oh, I love my doggy. And there's like so many, you know, little playgrounds for dogs. It's fantastic as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, safety. Also, I think, you know, public spaces offering you possibility to work out outdoor. So it's like wellness thing, which is great, right? But
there is not much though.
Exactly. So maybe they could think about that too. Because, you know, New York City parks, not like they don't run only public spaces. They also run beaches and toilets and swimming pools. Not even outdoor swimming pools, but also indoor swimming pools. So it's big structure. It's a big, you know, institution. So maybe they need some time.
Yeah, something like I feel the New York City needs some improvements on safety. I agree too, and some like bathrooms. I would highlight.
Do you also think that they don't have much, you know, like sport facilities?
And actually, no, not much. Yeah, like in actually some neighborhoods, I see that.
Yeah.
But if you speak about
like
Manhattan,
Village,
it's not
West
much.
Village,
It's not much. Yeah, like Central Park, they have some tennis courts, which we actually haven't used sometime, like in the summer,
Mm-hmm.
but not much. I would wish it will be more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe also they can think about
Yeah, it's a good point.
gyms, you know,
Yeah. Oh my
like
god.
more affordable, because
affordable, yeah.
do you know that they actually indoor swimming pool cost only $150 per year?
Indoors?
Yeah, which runs by New York City parks.
I know, like outdoors we use in the summer.
Yeah, it's free.
Yeah, it's free. Yeah,
Yeah.
but indoors, I've never heard about that.
Yeah, it's in Chelsea.
Oh,
It's
really?
like $150
For
per
a
year.
year?
It's
Wow.
nothing. I mean,
It's nothing. Yeah, I mean, just like $10
It's very
a
cheap,
month.
yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, thank you so much. So many insights. Yeah, I'm sure if you'll have a chance here to do something, that will be amazing.
fingers
Like,
crossed.
yeah. Yeah. So actually, you had also after that you switched to another company and you started working on the Extreme Park, which
Yeah.
is super famous and the biggest park like
In Europe,
in Europe. Yeah.
that was fun too.
How that
well,
happened? How did you switch?
Well, actually, you know, the this big program, well, like this park is also part of the program, but there I was working on nonprofit, and here I was working for business, for the company who actually built this extreme park. And
It's like legato architecture.
yeah, Legato Sports
Like
Architecture.
sports.
And yeah, that was interesting because it's like different side, I would say, but at the same time, you already kind of know everything, you know, how it works and what kind of picture you create in your mind. Like we wanted to make our Instagram page look like art, you know, and since Extreme Park Uram, which is located in Kazan, there's like so many, you know, so many extreme facilities, pump track, skate park, which is not only skate park, it's like street plaza and concrete bowls and parkour. Parkour?
Parkour, yeah.
You know The Office, right? Parkour.
I like the office though.
Oh my god, that's my favorite joke. And then yeah, we had like street ball, you know, and football. And I'm only talking about outdoor section. We also
It's
built a
huge.
big yeah indoor complex, like the building. And yeah, I mean, and I was there since the beginning, like since the construction started, and it was very exciting to see how the space is transforming, you know. So that time we decided that we want to make a movie about it, and because it's such a unique occasion, you know. The biggest, I mean, did we know about that it's going to be biggest extreme park in Europe? Well, yes,
Probably.
we did. I mean, because we were
Uh-huh.
building it, right? And we're like, wow, my God, this project will be huge. Will be, you know, probably well known. And also, like, we thought about details a lot, because, you know, everything now is so about, is it Instagrammable or not? You know what I mean?
Yeah, we live in such a time. Yeah, it should be.
And we actually created a design for a street ball to make it cute and make it fun and make it cool, you know. So people who are not playing sports, let's say, because it was a extreme park and public space, not for adults or kids, but for like teenagers or students, you know, people who are like growing and exploring themselves. So, and not everyone, you know, skate. Someone taking a picture, someone, you know, making videos so they can collaborate together and again stay in the city, you know, not leaving to another country. So they have all this, you know, amazing and cool things around them.
Wow, so you actually mentioned like from the beginning you decided to do the production of the movie
Yeah.
about that space. Could
Yeah.
you share like how did you do that and what type of tools did you involve, like people and instrument PR, like instruments which helped you to do that?
Yeah, thank you for this question. I mean, so people is a key, as we already, you know, mentioned in our conversation. And a friend of mine, he's a photographer, he introduced me to movie maker. And he's a director, and he became a director of our movie. And I was a producer of the movie. So basically every day at the construction site, where people are covered by concrete and dirt, and and I was the same actually, but since I love looking good, it was ridiculous wearing nice shoes
Are you
at
like
the construction
heels?
site. So,
I'm PR manager.
hello. Sorry. Yeah, it was something like that. But yeah, we started filming during the process of the construction because it's very important to kind of catch this moment, because when you see how amazing it looks at the end, you usually don't know like how hard it was to build it. So we wanted to show that as well.
So like a fancy part, but you made it cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And also guys in our team who building the extreme park, they not only builders, but they skate. They
by themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They do mountain biking, BMX, freestyle. So they know how to shape the concrete in the right way, and that was a show during the movie. I mean, that was a show because you have to like test what you build. So that was another scenes that we did during the movie. Also before the opening of the public space, which was kind of not legal, I think. We did a party there to make a scene for a movie, and we couldn't open it because you have to have a certification and stuff, but since these guys were professionals, they could skate, and do all that things. And we make another scene, for a movie. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And actually, is there any way people could see that? Or it will be out soon?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so this year.
This year?
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, actually, as a PR, you did a movie, and what other PR instruments did you use to make this project famous?
It depends on the client, actually. I mean, it depends on if we're talking about like some suggestions. We actually I organized a big interview with founders, because no one knew the story, and it was very interesting, and we wanted to share about them, how they started, and that's actually impressive, and this is something that people interested in to read if you sell the media, the
so
story.
Actually, the story
so
about
but also like inventing the thing like, it's the biggest extreme park in Europe. Sounds catchy, right? Sounds cool, and people in media start kind of catching it as well and wanted to write about it. So first is media, and then awards, and then nice looking social media, and then this movie, and then many other things. Yeah.
So actually, one of the part of that, you just created a storytelling around the brand's owner.
Storytelling,
personal story.
Yeah, and also like how it looks like, because like we had all these beautiful concrete shapes, and I thought we can, make it differently, because let's say there is a lot of skateboarding was born in California, in America, in 60s, when surfers couldn't surf because it was like bad weather. It was a dry season, and they started they put the wheels on the shorter version of the surf, and they start skating in the pool, in the dried pools.
I actually didn't know that.
It was in 60s, so
in pools.
Yeah.
Crazy, yeah.
I mean, that looks kind of crazy, but they did that, and it's more American thing than Russian for sure.
Oh yeah.
But there's a lot of companies here who's doing it, who's building extreme parks and skate parks for sure, but it's kind of unusual for Russia, so it's also interesting story to share.
It's actually different climate, different historical background and preferences. Actually, like last year they included skateboarding to Olympic Games competition. We
2000.
actually
Yeah.
watched it, so it was super fun.
Did you?
Yeah.
They include skateboarding and BMX freestyle, and well, because of the pandemic, Tokyo 2020 didn't happen.
2020, whatever, like
it happened
year
in
was,
2021.
21,
Yeah, but actually they included skateboarding and BMX freestyle like 4 years before that. You know, like during the last one. So people who want to participate and compete, they got prepared for next Olympic Games.
Oh yeah.
And one guy actually went there. He
Russian?
Yeah, I mean, not only one, but he's from Kazan, and he helped us to build this extreme park as well, because it was his hometown. He lived there, and now he's living there. He's not going, to like different countries to train, because you have everything here.
How you get inspired for a project? You have so many beautiful Instagram accounts of your project you accomplished. Also, we'll talk about the exhibition which you recently did in New York City.
Yeah.
How you get inspired, where you get your inspiration?
Yeah, I think like the most important thing to notice details around you. I think it's kind of like the way you think, I would say, because some people just walk around the city and thinking about their own things, and it's okay because everyone is different. But I find New York City very inspiring, because there's like so many interesting people, and architecture is great as well, and you can you should just see beauty around you. That's my main thing. Yeah, and so about the exhibition, it was a film photos exhibition. It was my first one, and I'm happy that it happened for the first time in New York. And I think I was on the way for a pretty long time, because my dad used to give me as a present a new photo camera for my each birthday, and before he passed away, he gave me as a present like collection of film cameras. So I started doing more films, and I was doing it for like, I don't know, 14 years probably. And that exhibition, which happened in NoHo in Manhattan, I was the representation of some of my works, and I'm excited to see what's gonna happen next.
Wow! So actually, you're so artistic yourself.
Thank you.
And I know that you did some DJ sets. You've been designing your brands.
Yeah,
the hats.
Leather hat brand.
When you had like this little break, being in Bali.
Yeah. Well, that time I actually started writing music and started DJing, and then doing a lot of sketches, and that was also like fixation of the moment, I would say, because you just draw what you see around you. And making music, it's also an interesting creative part of my life, and DJing as well, because at some point it became like a hobby, and I started DJing at the nightclubs and like at the some openings, like exhibition openings, I mean. And it's something, I find it as an education, I would say. I don't know how it sounds, but what I mean is that I'm giving as a present new music, and I give it to people, and I'm just watching if they like it. Usually they like it. It's something new, and it's like a present, and I'm happy to share. So
the beauty,
how
you see this beauty of the world, and you share this vision
in different dimensions.
Yes, and it's actually amazing. How do you think, how do you find what you really love to do? Like, how this process happens?
Well,
you've been very certain, like in the PR and communication as your profession, and around that you build lots of hobbies. And
I think it's all connected, to be honest. I think it's I believe that artistic people, can be artistic in many ways. And if you think that you want to try something, you better try it. Just don't stop yourself. Who knows? Maybe it's your thing, maybe it's your path. And yeah, my advice would, just try things. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to fail. And no one's gonna judge you. No one cares. Only people care about themselves, and just don't overthink.
So sometimes I think like that people really think about
What
how
other
failures
people
like
think?
feel like whatever we did, but people
No one
mostly
gonna no one gonna remember that, right?
yeah, everyone is focused on himself. And if you want to try something, I actually agree with you. Try, you better fail. You know if it's yours or not, quick, and then you jump to another thing.
That's true.
Or you know that it's yours and you start to grow in this direction.
Yeah, it's kind of sad when people not trying, and wasting their time. So
Yeah. So actually, what do you want to do in New York City? You have such a big move from Russia to here.
yeah, it was pretty fast. When war started, I moved in March, and well, now I'm working on my O1 visa, and I hope I will get it soon.
You'll be fine. No
And
doubts.
Thank you. And yeah, in the future, there's like so many possibilities in New York. I think people who come here, I don't know if everyone knows what they want to do, but I feel that city kind of leading you into the path that you actually should be in. You know what I mean? Like,
I kind of get it. Like
You
you meet
mean
people
people, yeah.
and you figure out on the way.
Exactly. So, like when I arrived here, I realized that it's a perfect place for me because I like to talk to people, I like to connect people, and Americans in that way they're very open and
Welcoming.
talkative and welcoming, and you can just introduce yourself and make a collaboration with someone, and it's very easy. It's much easier than in Russia, I would say. So my future goal, I would say, to launch the agency, like creative agency, and implement my skills that I already had, and try my best to make it here.
Yeah, actually, you have an amazing skill set. You do production. You're a creative director. You do brand strategy for.
Yeah.
You did brand strategy for so many amazing brands, and you
Thank
can
you.
implement that here. Which industry you would focus, or you will not focus on any industry?
Well, I'm pretty sure that art is something that kind of driving me right now, and I really want to go that way, and digital art as well, and Web3 world. It's like transition. I help my friends to organize the exhibition here in New York, and it's text-based art, and also we launched some NFTs. It was interesting experience as well. So I think like that direction is kind of interesting, but also I just want to be open for anything. Wellness sounds great. Art is great. Architecture as well.
Architecture is huge.
Yeah.
Actually,
So I'm open.
yeah. Wow, it's amazing. I'm sure those projects, like many amazing projects,
Will happen to
will
me.
happen. Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm sure. And if there is some books or podcasts, what you're reading right now, or which helped you along that way to figure out.
Okay, it's not about PR or marketing. It's more about, I would say, like building yourself, because that's the core. You are the core, right? If you're healthy and mentally and physically, you can do anything. So I would recommend. It's really nice book. Artist Way. It's an interesting tool because it's basically like manual how to grow your inner artist. So like people doing morning pages, right? Like, oh, I'm thankful to this, I'm thankful for that, or
I'm doing that.
I mean, I'm not judging you. It's good.
5 minutes journal.
She have this thing as a rule every day.
I started my year from this.
You see? I mean, this is a great thing. Why you say that? It's like,
oh my gosh, it's just so random. It just came up.
So yeah, that's very helpful, I think,
Yeah,
because
it
you're kind of
is.
like focusing, and you're like, wow, this is great, and sometimes people just don't think about it in daily like routine, like you're running somewhere, but when you have a moment to stop and think about it, and write like little morning pages. And she's saying that you just have to write as much as you can, even though if you don't want to write anything, just write like, oh, everything sucks, like I hate this world or whatever. Just write
highlights of the day. This world sucks.
Please remove this bean with with this bottles next to my house. Is that your wish?
That was the highlight of my Sunday.
Yeah, and also she's saying like you have to take yourself for the artistic dates. Only you, like no one else. You're taking yourself, let's say, for a museum or somewhere you can observe, beauty and stuff. So there's like a lot of interesting tools, and it's also like I think it's for 8 weeks or something. So you're like really focusing on yourself and your inner artist. So that thing that I want to recommend for sure. It's very interesting. And well, for people who maybe just moved here, I would recommend the book New Yorkers. A friend of mine in July, when it was my birthday, they gave it to me as a present, and I was like, wow, that's interesting. This guy, he also wrote a book about Londoners, and it's actually helped you to understand people and understand the city, how it works, how like different levels of society kind of presented in the city so well. He interviewed a lot of people and asked, different questions about their lives.
I heard about this book, something, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, definitely, like it was something. I think maybe when I saw, this book. It's a good one. Would you recommend?
Yeah, for sure. Well, now I'm reading a book of the last book of Victor Pelevin, because he's my favorite.
Is it? LGBT.
KGBT.
Okay. All right.
KGBT.
How is that, by the way?
Well, I just started actually, but it's
I was
in his specific
very specific
manner, I would say. Yeah, I mean it's like very Buddhistic, and it's linked to his previous books. So if you read the previous books, I mean not like 20 years ago, but like recent ones.
The recent, yeah.
Yeah, it's very connected, and I'm a big fan. So
I like Pelevin too. Actually, I was
he's great. Yeah, why did I mention that? Oh, actually, that's an interesting thing. I searched for books in the library here, in New York.
New York City Library.
Yeah, and Brooklyn Library have Pelevin's books.
No way.
In English.
Really? In English?
Yeah.
I was actually thinking.
So you can get it in English.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So what you would recommend to someone who would love to proceed the Korean PR and communications and to set up your own agency, something?
Well, before agency, you should get the experience.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure people starting, their own businesses, and that's great. But I think it really helps to go through, to start from the assistant and, walk your way, because you understand how it works in every level, and you're learning every day, And I would say just be open-minded and outgoing, and ready to talk to strangers if it's necessary. Make your research before you go to the event, and make sure that you know who's these people that you're talking to. And
so to be prepared.
Yeah, that's also very important. Yeah, and just don't be afraid, and
Do your research.
Do your research.
Go out and do your job, yeah.
And do your business after,
Do your
yeah.
business,
Yeah.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm sure it's amazing advice. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
My last question, but not the least. What's your definition of success?
I would say work-life balance, you know, because sometimes people just like running so hard, especially in New York, you know. I'm pretty sure that it's, you know, tough city, and a lot of people saying that, oh, you have to hustle hard, you know, you have to do many things at once, for sure. But I think that it's very important to kind of think about your life as a marathon rather than a sprint. Because if you're running super fast, you easily burn out, right? Especially during this kind of year. Anything can happen. You have to keep calm and use your cold brain.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
for such an amazing conversation, and please let us know how people could find you.
Well, my Instagram probably.
Instagram, okay? So we'll put it
Doop,
here.
doop, doop.
All right. Thank you. And thank you so much for watching us today. And see you next time on She Did It Show.